Right everyone, it is Finn here and welcome to a brand new video, and of course with that, welcome to a brand new year. Happy New Year everyone. It is already 2023, which is mental to think about, and I hope every single one of you watching this video does achieve what you set out to achieve this year. But of course in today's video, we're going to be talking about what every single Premier League team will set out to achieve in Matchweek 19. I mean, we've got Chelsea vs Man City, we've got Arsenal vs Newcastle United, Premier League Matchweek 19, it's going to be a big one. And of course in today's video, we're going to be talking about all of it.
Showtime.
So of course, jumping into game number one, we have Brentford versus Liverpool, and of course massive news for Liverpool as this could be Cody Gakpo's first game for them. I mean, they desperately do need a new attacker considering in their game versus Leicester, their most lethal striker was Leicester City's centre-back. I mean, jokes aside, that was probably easily the best goal I've ever seen. Not even own goal, but what a brilliant own goal to just score. I mean, that was an absolute mare of a game. But looking at Liverpool, now that they do have that brand new attacker option, if you can put them up front with the likes of Salah, obviously when some of the other attackers return from injury, they could have an absolutely lethal attack. And this time around versus Brentford, I do think Liverpool will get the points. I think they've been in brilliant form as of late. I think they've played some really good football, and I do think it will be a relatively close one. I mean, looking at Brentford, they've gotten brilliant points lately. In the last 3 games, they've taken points from West Ham United, Man City, and Tottenham Hotspurs.
Lions, they don't compare themselves with humans.
Which isn't bad going, and it definitely shows that they could take points from Liverpool as well. But as I said, I'm kind of optimistic about Cody Gakpo, and I do think he'll score. Now jumping into our next game, we have Arsenal versus Newcastle United, arguably the biggest game of this match week, because looking at Arsenal and Newcastle, first versus third in the Premier League, which is mental to think about. I mean, if you told football fans that 2-3 years ago, where Arsenal were mid-table in the Premier League and Newcastle United were fighting in the relegation zone, the fact that these two teams are in the top 3 of the Premier League, I don't know whether it makes me want to laugh, cry, possibly get sick in my mouth, or maybe just all 3 at the same time.
Look at us. Hey, look at us. Look at us. Huh? Who would have thought? Not me.
It is definitely weird to look at, but without a doubt, it will be a fantastic game to watch. I think on the attacking front, both teams have been brilliant in terms of results, in terms of defending. I mean, each of these 2 teams have only lost 1 game this entire season. So of course, this is going to be a massive game. And in terms of the team that I think will get the result, I mean, it is a brand new year. I do want to give you guys more bold, shocking predictions this year. So I'm going to give it to Newcastle United. I think they've really shown that they can be giant slayers this season. And they are amongst some of the best in the world. And they could weirdly finish in the top 4 this season. I do think if there's any team at the moment that could take down Arsenal, it is Newcastle United. As I said, it could go absolutely either way. But you know what? I'm kind of expecting a shock result. I want to see something exciting. Of course, guys, don't forget to put your predictions down below. Once again, although I give you my predictions in these videos, it's always nice to see what you guys see, whether you guys have similar predictions or not. But of course, heading into our next game, we have Everton versus Brighton. Now looking at Everton throughout the season, they've had a forever ton of problems. Does that work as a joke? Probably not. But looking at Everton, although they've had a bad season, they've just drawn to Manchester City, proving that anything can happen in football. And versus Brighton, it is very likely that they could take points there. But yet again, saying that Brighton have had a brilliant season, they are currently 9th place in the Premier League, they've got brilliant players throughout their squad, and they've really impressed me throughout. Obviously 7 wins for them, only 3 wins for Everton. I do think despite the fact that they got a draw versus Man City, Brighton will take it. We have Leicester City versus Fulham. Now obviously Leicester City, you would hope that Fulham don't go fox hunting in a game like this, as Fulham have had a far better season than them. Obviously 7th place in the Premier League, we could see them fight for European football this season, and they've just been impressive on every single level. We're looking at Leicester City, obviously that game versus Liverpool, it was not great for them. I mean, it's quite impressive to score 3 goals in 1 game and to lose 2-1 because their own goals. I mean, both FaZe had an absolutely shocker game, probably the worst game I've ever seen a centre-back have. But once again, that was an individual performance, and we can't rule them out of things. I do think this has potential to be a very close game. I'm very tempted to go for a 2-2 draw. I think it could genuinely go either way. And I do think I do want to give Leicester City some credit here. I know it goes against everything I've said, that Leicester have had an awful season and Fulham have had a good season. But hey, as I said, it's a new year. I want to put forward some shocking results, and I do think Leicester could take it. We have Manchester United next versus Bournemouth. My team, Manchester United, which I still feel like I'm on a hidden camera show with how well they've been playing. I mean, looking at Manchester United, they've only gotten 1 loss in their last 15 games across all competitions. And for the first time in a long time as a Man United fan, I've got hope that we can get results, especially versus Bournemouth, who in the past, Manchester United have always struggled versus lower table teams. But this time around, I do think Manchester United will take it. I'm even going to give them a clean sheet, which is still weird as a Manchester United fan to say that.
Wait. What sorcery is this?
But as I said, on every single level, attacking-wise, defensive-wise, result-wise, Man United have been better than Bournemouth. And I'm hoping that Marcus Rashford can be a rash on the side of Bournemouth. Once again, we'll have to wait and see. We have Southampton versus Nottingham Forest, a relegation zone battle, which can almost be as exciting as top-level, like Champions League battles from time to time. Look at either of these two teams, both being heavily underwhelming, but Nottingham Forest can really deserve some credit. They can give themselves a pat on the back because a 1-1 draw versus Chelsea in their previous game, they were brilliant at some aspects of that game, and they almost could have won it in many different moments. Looking at them versus Southampton heading into this, I'm not going to lie, I recorded this video yesterday before the game happened, but I decided after the game that I needed to redo this prediction. Previously, I did predict a draw, but this time around, I think Nottingham Forest can pick up a win. They've been in much better form than Southampton, where Southampton's form has just been going south, funnily enough.
It's time to stop!
And looking at them, as I said, Nottingham Forest, they've just got that little extra energy about them, and I think they'll take the points versus the Saints. We have Leeds United versus West Ham. Now, West Ham United, only one position above of the relegation zone. Shocking to think about. I mean, Leeds United, not much better, only in 14th place. Neither of these two teams should be happy with their season, both only 4 wins apiece. But this time around, although yes, the Hammers have notoriously a bigger name in recent Premier League history playing European football, I think Leeds United have been playing better football as of late, which yes, I know sometimes playing the better football doesn't always mean that you're getting the results, but this time around, unless West Ham United change something about their form, I do think Leeds United will take it on the attacking front. They've been very dangerous, and West Ham United could struggle. Now, heading into what I believe could be our second or third last game, we have Aston Villa versus Wolves. Now, once again, looking at Aston Villa, been absolutely brilliant under Unai Emery, just beating Tottenham Hotspurs 2-0. Once again, we love to see it. And versus a Wolverhampton Wanderers team that have been woeful this season. Well, I guess it's all Wolves, so you would be woeful. I don't know, I could probably put more effort into that. But I do think, once again, Aston Villa are the better team, and they could take it. And once again, you've got one of the best goalkeepers of all time. I'm going to give them a clean sheet. Now, heading into our next game, we've got Crystal Palace versus Tottenham Hotspurs. Once again, Tottenham Hotspurs, you just seem to surprise me on every single level. One week, you could beat some of the best teams around the world. The next week, once again, you're just totally underwhelming. Obviously, a 2-0 loss versus Aston Villa, nowhere near the level you have to be. It's a bit awkward for Hugo Lloris having to shake Martinez's hand after losing in the World Cup final. But looking at Tottenham Hotspurs, although, once again, nothing's a given in football, I do think they'll get a result versus Crystal Palace. Once again, Crystal Palace also playing some very attractive football as of late. Some great attacking play in their previous game in a 2-0 win over Bournemouth. But look at Crystal Palace. One thing they are lacking, much like Spurs, is consistency, and I do want to see a bit more of that before I give them a result. But as I said this time around, I will give it to Spurs. But that, ladies and gentlemen, takes us to, I said it versus Arsenal and Newcastle United, but this is the biggest game of the match week. Chelsea versus Man City, and to be honest, it could go either way. Looking at the last 10 meetings between these two teams, it has been 5 apiece, with 5 Chelsea wins and 5 Man City wins. But looking at things this time around, although I want to make it dramatic for effect, I can only see Man City winning this one. Although yes, Chelsea definitely have their moments, I do see them switch off defensively, and no, Man City have been brilliant so far this season. I mean, throughout majority they've been okay, but they've lost unnecessary points here and there. But versus Chelsea, I still expect them to get a result. I think it will be an incredibly close game, and I do think it will be an Erling Haaland difference maker. I mean, how weird would it be this season if he scored 40 Premier League goals but still managed to only get second in the Premier League?
But that's how it is.
Once again, best league in the world, we've seen weirder. Obviously, I mean, I think there's one rerun this Premier League season with Fulham versus Chelsea that will be played in a week's time. I think it was postponed from earlier. Once again, not going to dive too far into that. I know it's going to sound like a big prediction, but once again, Chelsea, you really need to impress me more. I am going to give you a win versus Fulham because I think throughout this transfer window, you will bring in some very important key players. With your current squad, I would go for a draw, but as I said, I do think you will make the necessary changes. But that, ladies and gentlemen, is it for my Premier League Match Week 19 predictions. Once again, we've got some absolutely massive games coming our way. I'm so tremendously excited for it. Don't forget to put your predictions down below. Once again, don't forget to subscribe if you have enjoyed this video, along with liking the video down below. But guys, this has been Finn, FYNN. I hope you guys have an absolutely fantastic new year, and I'll see you all very, very soon. Cheers.